All right, guys, let's talk about how leads are distributed. Well, for the most part, we as a company, we do what we can to market and develop leads that are coming in. But when it comes right down to it, the vast majority of leads are generated by things that you do, right? So yard signs, installs, door hangers, people knocking on doors. That leads to people calling the office and asking for someone to come out here. So when those types of leads call in, we are going to do, we're going to take reasonable steps to find out where that came from. So, hey, I saw someone calls in, hey, I saw your yard sign, saw you're doing work on some of my neighbors. Well, sir, where'd you see that yard sign? Which street did you see it on? If they see an install, we might ask, a lot of times we know what install is going on that day. But we're going to we're going to try our best to figure out, all right, who generated that lead. And we're going to send the lead to that person. That's going to be our first step. We won't always know. Sometimes, a lot of times you guys are working in the same neighborhood. You guys are working side by side. It's, someone might call and we don't know who's been in that neighborhood. This is where your use of the CRM comes in handy. So if someone says, hey, someone knocked my door on Mulberry Street, Jason or Joe might get in the CRM and type in Mulberry Street and see if anyone's on there. Now, if you're good at CRM, so every time I talk with someone, every time I get a lead, I'm putting that in the CRM. Every time I do an inspection, I'm putting that name and address in the CRM. Every time someone makes an appointment with me, I'm putting that name and address in the CRM. Now there's something to pop up and Jason can say, oh, it looks like Dustin's been working on Mulberry Street. I should shoot this over to him. So there's a good incentive to, make sure that you're using the CRM properly. Obviously, we're not going to, first off, there are going to be some leads that aren't generated from us. So maybe a website lead, call-in leads that aren't generated by account managers. If we can't tie it back to someone, the next step that we're going to think about is, guys, this isn't socialism. Our goal is really to, the goal isn't to make sure that everyone eats. The goal is to make money, right? So when we're deciding who those leads go to, it's going to be a question of, all right, who's going to turn this into the most money? So first off, and it's not just closing ratio. It's closing ratio. It's going to be good file management. Like, Joe and Jason are our supplementers and also our production. Joe and Jason are the ones that are going to be answering the phone. They're the same ones that have to deal with your files. If your files are typically, not the best, if they're getting there having to fix things, if they're having to track things down, they're probably not going to be sending those leads off to you because you're a headache to deal with. So it's good reason to keep your files tight. The other thing we're going to look at is which account managers, are you taking a lead and turning it into one contract, or are you taking a lead and turning it into 4 contracts? So if you make a habit of, you get a lead, you go out there, you sign that up, put a sign in the yard, and then sign up 4 more neighbors, you're going to be higher on the list than someone who just goes out and, if you go out there and sign the contract, be like, all right, I got my contract for the day, and go home, you're going to be lower on the list than that person who's always turning those into more referrals. Making sure that everyone's talked to, making sure there's a yard sign, making sure that you get your name put on the Facebook page, making sure you get your name put on the Nextdoor app, finding out if the homeowner is connected with the homeowners association. All these things, all these habits that you need to do to make sure that it's not 1 contract, it's 4 contracts, it's 5 contracts. It's that series of leapfrogging from referral to referral to referral. So this is going to be how leads are distributed. If you aren't getting enough leads, if you feel like, hey, here's my performance, I don't think I'm I'm getting the leads I deserve, then let's talk about what we can do to make more leads. In general, leads are going to be generated mostly by our activity. People call from yard signs, they call from door hangers, they call from installs. The things that we do are the best marketing that we have. I've spent in my career, I've probably overseen at least $500,000 in marketing expenditure, and nothing compares to the stuff that we do. Being in the neighborhood, having a truck in the neighborhood. So make sure that your usage of the CRM is proper. Make sure that you're putting everything in the CRM so that people know who to assign these leads to. And make sure that you're asking for referrals so that everybody feels good sending leads to you, knowing that this is going to build for the entire company. So that's how leads are going to be assigned. I hope that makes sense. Obviously, if you have any questions, give me a call about it.